Disney is on pace this year to basically have nothing at the box office that works effectively. Guardians, I know, is a bit of an exception, but we're talking about at this point to where we're celebrating Guardians for it's going to get real close to break even, maybe make a little bit money. But again, as we continue to remind folks, Disney consumes all their own product after they go away from the theaters.
Right.
I've noticed.
Can you explain in 20 to 30 seconds why it is that Guardians needs more than the usual calculation in order to make break-even point?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. And that is because if you recall, when we started comparing the performance of Guardians, I said before it came out, I think this movie, if anything, is going to look like it has a Thor Love and Thunder trajectory. It has performed almost exactly like Thor Love and Thunder, but for the exception of one thing that Thor Love and Thunder did not have: China.
In positive word of mouth.
Right now, it's at $806 million globally, right?
Mm-hmm.
How much has come from China? 86 million. Back out the Chinese box office, you're at 720 million or so right now.
Heck, even if you include the Chinese box office and take away China's cut, you're still in the $700 million range.
That's true.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They still haven't made money on Guardians yet.
At the other side of it, though, what they have going for them is that other than Spider-Verse, there hasn't been any big movies this summer that have been taking away too much competition because it's still doing fairly well.
It's
40 to 50 million more, and it's probably going to get it.
And
so
I was just going to say,
get to the break even.
Because they've decided clearly, because I just heard this last week with the tentative video release date, and it's put out till August. So that tells me they're pushing it out past the 90-day window, meaning they're going to get to keep the bonus of the first weekend. So that's one plus for Disney. And then they'll turn around and they'll stretch it out as long as they can. This will be one where you'll be waiting a while to see it on streaming.
Well, and here's why, Tom. This is, of course, conjecture here, but they've probably identified this is the biggest one they're going to have all year. They've looked at everything now.
Yeah,
Guardians is the biggest. So why in the world would you not leave it out for every dollar it can get? Because nothing else is going to go into these levels. Maybe they're thinking they could possibly, if they really let it just sit there, maybe it can get close to 900, but nothing else is going to do it for them. So it's their best PR move.
So, but in any case, I love this question from Paulie. Which one had a bigger budget to overcome, Wakanda or Guardians?
Wakanda.
Paulie, from what we understand, I mean, the production budgets between the two of them were stated to both be $250. Now, from what we heard back last year was that they beefed up the marketing for Wakanda quite significantly, which is why
yanked it off of Strange World.
Exactly, they yanked it off Strange World and reallocated it. Now, that being said, Guardians would have come in with about $150 million marketing budget from just what we know with Disney's history. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if Disney had enhanced that as the weeks went on, because it was performing relatively well.
I think they took the budget for the Elementals and they put that towards Little Mermaid and Guardians. I'm willing to bet we're going to find that out in the next few weeks.
There's been almost nothing for Elementals.
That's what I'm getting at.
I can't see how you're wrong.
Script, your thoughts on any of this? I know you've been quiet, but I'm trying to get to you.
Well, there's not really much to say. It's basically the general market of theater going audiences has basically said, you know what, the outside is more valuable right now. Mm-hmm. The product that with which is being put out, it has not drawn enough interest as one would expect, and it just for me, I feel like it's just kind of reaping what you sow when it comes to what the studios have been picking to put support behind. It's basically that, like they put support behind Wakanda Forever. Wakanda Forever didn't have Black Panther in it, and spent a whole lot of time trying to avoid the idea that didn't have Black Panther and that they could still try and get away with a story. And they didn't. They dropped it. The kids' cartoon side of things with Strange World, Buzz Lightyear, and now what looks like to be Elemental, which looks like a very derivative hybrid of other cartoons mashed
Inside
into one.
Out.
Inside Out meets meets Osmosis Jones, essentially.
Yeah, kind of.
Oh man, I forgot about that one. Yeah, that's a great point.
Mix it
that's
up
what the
with a
water guy
mixed
looks like. He looks like
relationship.
Chris
Yeah.
Rock's character in Osmosis Jones, just
You're right.
CG. Again, the other part too is what's the angle for these films? Why should any average person want to go watch them? When you see the trailers, they're not exciting. They're not interesting. There's no hook to them. It basically, if I were Disney, if I were any studio really, and I looked at these trailers as part of the marketing campaign, I would fire the marketing team because they don't do what a marketing campaign is supposed to do. Why am I paying $150 million and this is what you're giving me? There's no way I'm making $150 million back after spending this on this trade of trailers, on this really lazy ad marketing campaign. But that's the way it is right now. And I think there's a lot to be said when you're a studio that erroneously throws $250 million behind a poor concept and then another $150 million to market it to a team of marketers that are just as incompetent, as lazy as the people that wrote the movie you invested $200 million on.
That's a great point. Like the marketing teams behind, like for the last 15 years or so, it's gone stagnant. Outside of the few random ones you can point to, like maybe the Deadpool campaign, which was ingenious, but that's a rarity.
But that was also led by Ryan Reynolds.
Exactly. And it was done in the old Hitchcockian style of, I'm going to come out and do the razzle dazzle show on the trailers, and the movie itself will be fine. I'm selling me as a person, right? Like you said, Ryan Reynolds. And that's a
Ryan
totally
Reynolds
different kind
in
of
his
campaign.
Deadpool costume, hanging out with kids, telling the kids to look directly at the camera and don't look at him while he pulls up the middle fingers and he's screaming at the kids, do not turn around.
Right.
It's a funny joke because he's trying to protect kids for doing something lewd. And it's brilliant because it has multiple layers of comedy to it.
That seems better than the strategy they used for the Obi-Wan Kenobi series and the Little Mermaid movie, which both seem to share something in common. I'd fire the people behind that. That's who I would fire.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like these movies, a lot of times should almost sell themselves, and it's almost like they're working it. Cocaine Bear is another great example of a movie that was like, how do you mess that up?
And they did.
They still did, because you have a perfect movie that not only sells itself, but it should be a no-brainer. And we're still in a world where they can't do that, but yet we're bigger issue when you can't even sell a Little Mermaid film or a Marvel film now. And we've gone so stagnant in the advertising. I think that's another part of it, but it's not just the marketing; it's the movies themselves, obviously, because they can't live up to the expectations anymore.
You actually have to be able to deliver on some of this stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hey guys, we got a series here that Kenobi versus Darth Vader. People have been waiting 30 years for it. How do you want to market it? I got an idea. Well, let's make it all about modern day racial issues.
What about the little brat Leia? Let's have that chick in there. Even though they should have never met.